Morning.
Good morning, Susie.
Hi, Lindsay.
We'll give everyone just another minute or so, see if anybody else is able to join us, and then we'll get started. I don't want to take up too much of your time this morning. Okay, I think we can get started. We are recording this meeting for anyone who's unable to join us. I just wanted everybody to be aware that we are recording. And my name is Lindsay. I am the CEU manager with AICI headquarters. So anyone who's applying for a CEU course, a course to be CEU'd or to have CEUs added to your record, that all goes through me. I will also be the on-site person helping with the sessions during the conference. So wanted to start by thanking all of you for volunteering to serve in this role during the event. We have a big, really good event planned for you all. There's a lot of moving parts, and your help is absolutely crucial. So I greatly wanted to share my appreciation for all of you for volunteering in these roles. Sue, did you have anything you wanted to add before we get into?
No, I don't think so. Just, to say, yes, a huge thank you to everybody. This is one of the biggest conferences I think we've done in a number of years. There's nearly 50 speakers. That's a lot of speakers, and they all need supporting. So thank you so much. This is an overview, really, of what we would like you to do. So if there's any questions or anything like that, today is the day you ask them, just in case we don't have the answer and we need to find the answer. But hopefully everything will be clear. Hopefully it will be enjoyable. And so I'll leave it over to Lindsay to go through, and I'm here if you need me.
And we'll go through this relatively quickly. There's not a ton to go over. So the main things we're going to touch on is just kind of what to expect during the conference, what's going to be happening, plans for when you arrive in Punta Cana, and then your main responsibilities as the speaker support representative. So our conference is, as Sue mentioned, quite large. We will have over 200 attendees, and our educational sessions will be occurring in 3 different rooms in 3 different languages. So these are concurrent sessions. The rooms are all right next to each other. It's really one big, large room with dividers. So you're not going to have to be, nobody's going to have to be running from one side of the resort to the other. Everything is right there together. But the sessions will be occurring concurrently. So there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. There are 46 unique sessions that have CEUs. This includes our opening and closing keynotes, the fashion show, and then the rest of the educational sessions with 48 unique speakers. And a couple of sessions have co-presenters, which is why those numbers don't match. There are 28 or so. This number has been changing rapidly as more people are volunteering, but 28 speaker support volunteers, each supporting 1 to 3 sessions. So every session will have one of you there to be the primary support for the speaker. And that is your main role. And the last kind of big piece of our conference that's important to keep in mind is that this will be a green conference. So there won't be any printed handouts, no printed sign-in sheets, no printed PTE forms. You're not going to have to be taking care of anything on paper. That being said, that means everything is going to be available virtually. So there is some things to know about where to direct our attendees to access those materials. But for now, leading up to the conference, the main thing to do is to get to know your speaker or speakers whom you are supporting. Part of your role will be to introduce the speaker at the beginning of the session. So ask them for a short bio. We do have bios that were submitted with the session proposal, but those proposals came in back in August and September of last year. So I would recommend going to the speaker and asking for an updated bio in case anything has changed. But if you are having trouble getting in touch with your speaker and would like that bio that was submitted with the proposal, please just shoot me an email. I can send that over to you. The speakers have been doing a lot of work to prepare their sessions, and we even have a couple of speakers who are also serving as speaker support, so there's some overlap there as well. But everybody's really excited about their sessions. Several of our speakers, it will be their first time speaking at an AICI event, so them especially will need your support and cheerleading. It's always stressful to get up in front of a large room of professionals who are in your own industry, a large room of peers. So being their cheerleader will be a huge help to each of our speakers as well. For when you arrive in Punta Cana, we do want you to check in with Sue or myself so we can make sure, just in case something happens, make sure everybody is there and that every session has their support representative on site and prepared to be there for that session. There's no speaker support packet. As mentioned, it's the green conference, but I will be floating. I will be there the day before, so I will be there on site June 7th. I'm actually arriving on the 6th. So I will be around the AICI registration desk. There will be a staff office that I will let everybody know where that's located once we get all that information ironed out. But just to check in with either Sue or myself and get the final information about your session. The agenda is pretty much final. We've got all the rooms coordinated, but there's always a slim chance that something will change between now and June 8th So checking in and just making sure everything is still going according to what you're anticipating will, I'm sure, make you guys feel better and will absolutely make Sue and myself feel better. All right, this is the big slide. This is your main role. So there's really 4 big pieces. We are having a QR code on the badges to scan attendees into the sessions. We have decided to take that off of your plate. So speaker support will not be doing the badge scanning. I might, myself or Alalee or Sue will be reaching out to some of you. We are going to need around 6 people to be responsible for the scan-in process, but it is a little bit technical. It does require a little bit of tech savvy. So we didn't want to put that on all of you guys on top of introducing the speaker and monitoring the session. So you're off the hook for that unless anybody feels confident in their technical abilities and would like to volunteer for that as well. You can shoot me an email. So your main responsibilities, the one we've already talked about a little bit, is introducing the speaker. So you will be the first voice of the session to introduce your speaker, introduce the session title. These introductions should be short, especially for the 1-hour sessions. Those go by really, really, really fast. So we don't want to spend more than a minute with these introductions because we also have to save time at the end for the PTE process. Which brings us to our next responsibility for speaker support, which is monitoring time. We want the sessions to start on time, even if attendees are still entering the room. If the badges are still being scanned in, we can still start. That process can be done quietly in the back. Several of these sessions only have 15-minute breaks in between. And that also includes time for everybody to change rooms if the next session they're attending is in a different room. Again, the rooms are right next to each other, but there's only a short window in between some of these sessions. So please ensure that things start on time. In addition, we would like you all to monitor time during the session and give your speaker indications. Generally, I'd say giving a 5-minute warning, and instead of prescribing how you do that, talk to your speaker and ask them how they would like to be indicated. Do they want, if it's just a piece of paper with a number 5 written on it in Sharpie, if they want you to hold that up, that's okay. Or hold up your hand, or however the speaker would be most comfortable with you indicating that we're coming to the end of the session. We also want to make sure we leave 5 minutes or so at the end of every session for the PTE. The PTEs are all in Google Forms. Everything is very quick to fill out. People can do it on their phone. So there's not a lot of work for the speaker support in administration of the PTE. But in monitoring the time, that's going to be really key that we need your help with, is to make sure that these sessions are progressing and that everybody's able to leave the room at the prescribed end time so that they can make their next session and have time to grab a coffee or a bathroom break in between. The next responsibility is monitoring session attendance. Attendees can only miss 10 minutes of a session if they want to earn CEUs. If they miss more than that, they've missed the bulk of the content. So we don't want you to be hall monitors. We are using the honor system to an extent, but keep an eye, make a note if somebody's leaving and hasn't come back in a long time. We just want to make sure that we're not just giving CEUs to someone who walks in the room for 5 minutes and then leaves and goes to the beach. That's really our concern. So we don't need you to be hall monitors, taking down the time that they leave the room and the time that they come back in if they need to use the restroom, but just keeping an eye and making sure our attendees are actually attending these sessions. And the last responsibility is facilitating the PTE process. So how this is going to work is at the end of the presentation, there will be a slide that is displayed that has a QR code that goes to the PTE form. So attendees can scan that code with their phone, fill out the form, hit submit, and they are done. They are ready to move to the next session. We will also be putting posts into the conference group in the AICI member network or Tradewing that will be posted 15 minutes before the end of the session. So the link will be posted there as well. If for some reason somebody has issues with the QR code, there is an alternate way to access that PTE form. My goal is to have all the speakers put that slide into their own presentation so that it seamlessly moves from the presentation to the PTE slide. But again, we have 48 speakers who are all working on their presentations independently. So I will have those slides as separate presentations that will be available on the computers. So if for some reason the speaker doesn't have it available, your responsibility will be going and pulling up that slide to display for the PTE process. We will go over that more and send more instructions for that via email once we are more familiar with how the setup is in those rooms. But we will make sure that all of you have all the information you need for that as soon as we have it available. And moving on to our do's and don'ts, we do want you to communicate with your speaker, and we really want this to be a collaborative process. Every speaker, and I'm sure all of you know, I'm sure all of you have done speaking events of some type at some point. Every speaker has their own preferences, their own things that are more important to them. So maintaining that communication and just making sure that you're aware of the best way to support the speaker based on their needs. Also, and I know I've said this a couple of times, make sure the session begins and ends on time. Another big aspect of our event is our theme is creativity in action. We have asked our speakers to make their sessions both creative and interactive. So we'll have microphones in the room. I believe there will be 2 microphones in each room. So for the majority of the sessions, there will be an extra microphone for you as speaker support to circulate it if attendees have questions. There are a couple of the sessions that are going to have 100 or so attendees, so the microphone will be necessary in those larger sessions to make sure people are heard. So circulating that microphone with questions, and of course allowing time for the PTE process. That is the key to putting in the CEUs, is making sure that attendees submit the PTE. And we really encourage, even if attendees don't need the CEUs or don't care to earn the CEUs, we still want them to complete the PTE form. It's valuable feedback for the instructor, and it's valuable feedback for AICI as an organization to see how we can better support our members and our speakers and our providers. Now to the don'ts. Please don't go to the hotel registration desk or hotel employees for any AV or needs or issues. If a speaker says that they want a lavalier mic instead of a handheld mic, that needs to be done through myself or through Sue. And this is because the hotel will charge AICI for different AV tools. So they're going to be happy to provide that to us, but they will be charging us after the fact. And we want to manage that. So if there are any AV issues, any concerns, any needs or requests, please make sure to bring those to myself or to Sue or to the AICI registration desk. And then again, this is a green conference, so please don't print anything, ask for anything to be printed. All of the handouts will be available in the AICI member network. I know several of the speakers have created their own QR codes to allow attendees to access their handouts. So everything will be available to everybody, just not to physically hold in their hands. And that is our overview. So I'm eager to hear if anyone has questions. Sue, if you would like to add anything, we're ready.
Yeah, there was just one thing, and it's not so much about speaker support, more about speakers. Just to say that the rooms will be available for speakers to check out the equipment from 7 a.m. the day that the speaker is presenting. So again, you might want to be there, you may not want to be there, but it's from 7 a.m. And if you can keep it to the day that the speaker is actually presenting, I think that would be helpful. Also, the speakers are aware that in case for some reason their own equipment doesn't work, there are spare laptops in each of the rooms. So if all else fails, as long as they've got it on a USB stick or some other kind of form of backup, they can use the laptop that's actually in the room. They don't have to use theirs. So we're hoping that way everything will be, very smooth and there won't be any problems. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say, actually. The only other thing is, Lindsay, I don't know whether you mentioned it. I didn't see it. Are we going to be given a list of the attendees via the TradeWing app for the speaker support or not?
I don't think so. So we did ask attendees to sign up for their sessions, and a large number have. But there might be some changes. So I would suggest that we don't pass out a list, because I feel like that might cause more problems than solutions.
Good. I agree with that. I mean, all of the rooms have, good capacity. And I think that even if people are swapping around, I don't think it will be a problem that there's a queue outside the door of one. I think the way that people have registered at the moment, it does seem pretty evenly split. So I think that should be okay. But, again, Lindsay and I can go and get extra chairs or something if that's what you need in a room. That's not for you to do. That's for us to do.
Yes, and there will be an event coordinator on site working with AICI, Karina. So she will be available too. I'm sure she will be around the registration desk early in the conference, so everybody can get an idea of who she is. And any AICI board member as well. If you can't find me or can't find Sue, you can look for Alalie or Lillian or Sylvia, Monica. Ray, everybody on the board will be there to help as well.
And just to say, this is being recorded, as Lindsay said, and we're going to put it into the Simon Says software so that you will be able to have the CC at the bottom. So if you want to listen to it in your own language, then if you just give us, I don't know, till over the weekend or something, you'll be able to listen to it again in your own language if that's easier for you. But that's going to also, the link's going to be posted again in the network. So you'll find the link there, and then you can look at it nearer the time if you've forgotten what it is we've said, which is, you know, easy to do. So, you know, it'll be there, and you can just access that nearer the time if you need to do that, and you can do that in your own language.
Yes. Does anyone have any questions? I apologize. I think my internet is being a little unstable, so I'm sorry if there is a lag. Okay, let's see. Joe has a question. Given that we're monitoring time, does this mean that the presentation and the participant questions, say for a 1-hour session, must all conclude within the 1 hour? Yes. If it runs 2, 3, 4 minutes over, we're okay. But again, there's only 15 minutes between some of these sessions. So we don't want it to just go on indefinitely. But I know with the question and answer part, there might be some lag. And keep an eye on the schedule too. If your session is ending before the lunch break, then you can be a little more lax, because most of our lunch breaks are a couple hours long.
On top of that as well, could I just add something as well? This is something that happens a lot at conference. I know as a speaker that at the end of it, there is a queue for selfies. And the speaker as a speaker, it's fantastic to have so many people wanting to have their picture taken with you. But the thing is, if that happens, it needs to be outside the room. We can't hold the room up for people queuing to take photographs. So as the monitor, you will need to kind of nicely shove people outside.
Giselle has a question. She wants to know how the room will be arranged, table with chairs or only chairs. I believe for all of our sessions, we're going to be set up with round tables and chairs.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. And it won't be changed either, mainly because we have 3 rooms with dividers. Sometimes we need to take those dividers down. And the only way that everybody can still be looking at the same stage is if we have circular tables. So we won't be changing that. They will be circular tables in every room for everybody.
Good question. And so there's only 3 sessions that will be combined rooms, and that's the opening ceremony and opening keynote, the fashion show, and the closing ceremony and closing keynotes. All the other sessions will be in the divided rooms, and they vary in capacity. The smallest of the rooms has a capacity of 60. The largest of the rooms has a capacity of 120. I don't think we're going to end up having any room that has more people than chairs, but there are more chairs across the 3 rooms than attendees. So if we need to pull chairs from one room to the other, we can absolutely do that. I'm so glad that we're getting questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Are we expected to have our own device, or is there a device in a room for the speaker support? So there is a device in the room for the speaker for the presentation, but speaker support, the only reason you would need your own device would be for the PTE to fill out your own PTE. So you will need your smartphone for that. But you won't be doing the session scan-in process unless you would like to. And if you are someone who is interested in doing that, again, let me know. But that will also be done with a smartphone and an app. So it's not. Go ahead.
Sorry, Lynn. I was going to say, just to say as well, because the handouts are green, I know at the last conference, a lot of people had iPads with the iPencils, so they were writing on the PTEs actually on their own devices. So if you have that, then, obviously bring it along. Otherwise, I think that as with all hotels, I believe that there's definitely pens on each table. I'm not sure about paper. So if you are one of these people that prefer to write in a notebook, and I'm probably the same, then please feel free to bring your own notebook. But there won't be notebooks given out. So if you prefer to handwrite any notes that you want to do, then please do that as well. And that's the same for all the attendees. So I know pencils or pencils or pens are going to be on the table, but I'm not sure about any paper.
Correct. And I believe we recently asked that no paper be provided. So pens will be provided, no paper. Yes, all the rooms will have Wi-Fi. And one more thing that I forgot to mention, the CEU speech, which is part of the CEU process. It's kind of our disclaimer. That will be displayed on the screen at the beginning of the session. So you are not responsible for reading that out loud. That is not part of your introduction. Sue is going to read the CEU speech during the opening ceremony to cover the entire event. So you won't have to be reading that speech. And I've got that speech translated into the 3 languages for the sessions. So it will be on the screen in the language that the session is being presented in. And yes, the AICI member network, Tradewing, which I assume all of you have used because you are all here right now. But make sure you have it on your phone. The app is easy to use. And so if you haven't already downloaded the app, I encourage you to do that. Do we have any other questions? We need to project the CEU speech at the beginning of the session. Yes. So the goal, just like the PTE slide, is I'm going to ask the speakers to add these slides to their presentation. So the goal is that when they put their presentation on screen, that CEU speech is going to be their first slide put up. This is one of the reasons we are making the session rooms available at 7 a.m. each day, is that as much as we want to have all of this completely ironed out and tell you exactly what's going to happen, because we're not physically there to see what we're working with, and because there's so many speakers, we're going to make sure that it's ready, but I cannot tell you exactly what that's going to look like. So I do encourage you, when you check in with me or with Sue, just pop into one of the rooms, take a look around, get your questions together, and you can bring those to me at any time. Yes, I will send the CEU speech. And I'm also going to send you all, apologies, I'm going to send you this presentation as well. So you'll have this information. And once I will actually send you all the slides with the PTEs and the CEU speech, just so you have it. And I'll have that. Rachel asked if we will be having a speaker support meetup on site as well. We would like to. The struggle with that is finding the time in our schedule to make that happen, but we are looking at the 7th for anyone who is going to be there by then. I know some of you might not be flying in until later, but we are looking at the 7th to have a quick meeting just to make sure that everybody is comfortable, has all their questions answered. And I think that would be beneficial if we can find the time. But we will follow up with you on that, both via email and in the AICI member network. All right, does anyone have any other questions? Thank you all so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate your time. I know it's the beginning of Memorial Day weekend in the States, so anyone from the States, I appreciate you hanging your 3-day weekend, waiting a little bit longer to start it for us. And we're really excited to see everybody in Punta Cana. We have a really amazing conference planned. It is going to be busy and full of education and sun. But if at any point between now and then, if you have any questions, think of anything, please feel free to email me. Copy Sue just in case. Every now and then that email gets blocked from me. So copy Sue, but feel free to reach out. And you are also welcome to reach out in the AICI member network as well. You can send me a direct message in there. Well, thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you all in just a couple of weeks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.